All right, one of three things generally happens in the course of educating. Um, yeah, one of three things generally happens in the course of educating families financially. The first being we work off a referral basis. Now, I know you need to see the presentation first, but if you just so happen to fall in love with the financial education and you can see all of your family and friends benefiting from it, is there any reason why you wouldn't point them in our direction, Miss Deborah? Shakia, somebody, role play with me. Marcel, somebody.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, awesome. Um, Secondly, again, I know you hadn't seen the presentation yet, but if you just so happen to fall in love with the financial education and you can actually see it helping you get on track and stay on track when it comes to your own personal finances, is there any reason why um Shakia couldn't earn your business as a client?
Oh, no, ma'am.
Okay, awesome. And then lastly, we're going through a major expansion phase. We're always looking for some people full and part time, and this may or may not be a good fit for you. But if you could think of somebody that's ambitious, outgoing, motivated, looking for a career change, somebody that's a good teacher, all people that's already a business owner, is there any reason why you want to point them in Kia's direction?
That's fine. No, I don't see no reason now.
Okay, great. Great. If y'all look down here at the bottom, if you will see, that's what I just did. That three right there. Referral base, earn your business, and we going through a major expansion. Just so y'all know. And so the name of the company is Primerica Financial Services. Before today, have you ever heard of us?
No, ma'am.
Okay, let me give you a little background history about our company. We are the largest independent financial services marketing organization in North America, which means there is no bank, no insurance company, or investment company that's larger than us. We have well over 130,000 licensed representatives with our company. You want to do some research on us? You can go to nyse.com, type in our ticker symbol, which is PRI. You'll get all the information about us because we are a publicly traded company with the New York Stock Exchange. You can also go to BBB.com. You can go to Forbes.com because Forbes actually listed us as one of America's 50 most trustworthy financial companies. So they're pretty much trying to give you some of that credibility about our company. We've been around since 1977, so 40 plus years. And I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm proud to have put down my teaching bag and plant my flag with a 40 plus year old company. Okay. And we've done business with we've done business with well over 7 million clients with insurance and investments. And so the whole mission of our company is to help families earn more income, become properly protected, debt free, and financially independent. Now, if that one statement alone, Ms. Marcel, could describe you and your household, I mean, how amazing would that be?
That's awesome because you are speaking in my household.
Okay, then let's make it happen. And so these are some of the financial challenges that people deal with today. The first one is a debt crisis. Now I'm gonna tell you, Ms. Marcel, there's a difference between a debt situation and a crisis, right? Man, a situation. Somebody called me, somebody, oh, I got a little situation going on. I'm like, okay, it's gonna be all. But if my son called me and said he had a crisis, that means that's a serious situation. That's a serious issue, right? And so, guess what? About 40% of Americans spend up to half of their monthly income on debt payments. You get what I'm saying? Like up to their neck. And some, I'm be honest with you, that's something that I dealt with before I learned about this company. I literally was 200. I had over $200,000 in debt by the age of 33, but had nowhere in sight of how I was going to be able to pay off that debt until I found this company. In the past 4 years, I paid off $126,000 in student loan debt. I paid off a $56,000 mortgage and a $20,000 car note. And so that was a lot of debt. And to be able to do that in a 4 year time span, that's a major thing. Miss Marcel, how many people do you know that's drowning in debt?
Everybody.
Everybody, student loans, mortgage, all those things. And so when you agree that if majority of them are drowning in debt, that the reason why they're still in debt, just a few of them or a lot of them, is because they don't know where to go to get out of debt.
True.
True, right? And so that's the reason why we say refer us to people, because of course, how much do you think they will love you if if you introduce them to somebody that can help them the same debt they've been trying to get out of for 10 plus years, they can now get out of it in 3 to 5 years.
They're gonna bless me with some more people helping them.
Oh, okay. And so that's why we want to make sure that as we go through the presentation, make sure you continue to write those names down of people that you could think of that need what we got going on, right? And so again, understanding life insurance. Nearly half, about 48% of US households don't have life insurance outside of their job. I mean, that's major. And of course, the reason why we highlight outside of the job, because of course, on the job, you don't own that policy. The master policy belongs to the company, which means that they got control over whether or not your family gets their money when something happens to you. And so let me ask you this, Ms. Marcel. Because I would be remiss if I didn't ask, but who do you have your life insurance and investments with outside of your job?
I don't.
You don't. Okay. And so that's something we definitely need to talk about, by the end of the presentation, because, I couldn't, this, I couldn't do this for Shakia, for somebody that she loves, and you walk away from here without making sure that you got your own plan for your family. Okay. And so,
Okay.
we'll talk about that towards the end of the presentation. Um, but how many people do you think that actually are walking around with only life insurance on their job, or somebody else having it on them?
Since you said it like that, I don't know nobody that don't got it outside their job that I think about it.
Right. And so we need to definitely make sure that we refer those people to Shakia, to make sure that they have it in place, because the last thing we want to do is somebody having to do a GoFundMe, a t-shirt sale, a fish fry, car wash, just to help bury their loved one. And so the next thing is inadequate savings. About 56% of Americans say they have less than $1,000 in their checking and savings accounts combined. I mean, think about it. If those 56, if at least 50% of that 56% of those Americans actually had 3 to 6 months of income saved up before the pandemic hit, I mean, how do you think how differently do you think people's lives would have been when the pandemic hit, if they had that amount of money saved up?
I know it'd have been good if they had it. I know I would have.
Right, meaning that they wouldn't have suffered financially even when they had to lose their job, right? And so, or it get laid off. And so we, just making sure that people understand about saving money and where to save money, right? And so then when it comes to retirement, let me ask you this: when is retirement anyway?
Of course, growing up, and I'm thinking what they think. Like right now, I think it's 65, 65, I
Six,
think.
you said they say 65. Who is they?
I don't. I
Just
grew
people.
up
Look,
looking at
just
that
people,
though.
huh? Look, just people, huh? Right. And
Yeah.
so, but think about it. If I gave you 20, a lot of people end up with 25,000 or less saved up for retirement. If I gave you $25,000 right now, would you be able to retire comfortably today for the rest of your life?
No, not for the rest of my life.
Not for the rest of my life. But this the thing that says when it comes to retirement, 80 is the new 65. If I get to age 65 and I only got $25,000 saved up, is that enough for me to retire at that time?
No, how much did you say?
25,000.
Oh no.
Right. And so this the thing. This the thing. You know, if we got Jamel, look, you on me? Okay. And so this the thing. That's the reason why 80 is the new 65, because people are getting the eight. Because I don't want to be doing this in the background. You on and you got are you off mute? And so if the reason why they say 80 is the new 65 is because by the time people turn 65, they don't have enough money to retire off of, like people like they say that they would. And so they end up staying on their job because they too broke to retire. You get what I'm saying? And so now we have the ability to teach people how to retire 10 years sooner and with more than enough money. How many people do you think that would actually want to retire 10 years sooner with more than enough money
I'm
saved
going
up?
to get food.
Snacks? Yeah. Food, snacks is food.
Debbie, you off mute.
What?
I'm sorry. Touch my phone again. I'm gonna break your head.
That's on my recording.
That's abuse.
That's on my recording. I'm recording this. All right. And so, and the biggest challenge of them all, Ms. Marcel, is income. 78% of full-time workers live paycheck to paycheck. That's
Right.
a lot of people. That means out of 100 people you walk past on a day-to-day basis, 78 of them, 78 of them are living paycheck to paycheck, which basically means by the time that paycheck comes, it's already gone towards bills or something. You know what I'm saying? They're not really able to enjoy their paycheck. And so if an emergency comes up and they live in paycheck to paycheck, that means there's no extra money. And now they got to pull from some other kind of bill. And that's how people end up being behind. And so, and guess what? If income is the issue, that means all the rest of these are an issue as well. The debt crisis, the the debt crisis. Guess what? If you only have enough money to pay your bills, that means you ain't got enough to get out of debt. That means also if you only got enough to pay your bills, that means that you don't have enough to get life insurance outside of your job. Guess what? If you only have enough money to pay your bills, where is fast? If you only have enough money to if you only have hold on, y'all. God dang. No babies for me. All right. And so if you only have enough money to pay your bills, guess what? You don't have enough money to save. Okay. And so let me ask you this: how real and serious are these problems?
Extremely serious.
Extremely real and extremely serious. And so again, without introducing us to your family and friends, co-workers, church members, whoever you know that's dealing with these financial issues, how else would they know how to get out of those issues if you don't introduce them to me and Shakia?
They won't know.
They won't know. And so this is how we do what we do. Ultimately, Ms. Marcel, we teach people how money works, because that's really the main issue on why people are living in the situation that they're living in. And so what we do with our clients is we give them a financial education, because I'm gonna be honest with you, growing up, I didn't receive a true financial education. Only thing that I was taught was when I get old enough, get a job, go to work, get your paycheck and pay your bills and save if you can. Nobody taught me about interest rates. Nobody taught me about living below my means. Nobody taught me about investing. Nobody taught me about saving up for my children's college education. Nobody taught me about retirement at a really young age. I had to learn these things as they became problems in my life. And so what our goal is to make sure we educate as many people as possible on how to have a true financial education on how money works, so that the information can trickle down, because we teaching our family members something, we teaching our kids something, it just might not be the right thing that we teaching them. And so ultimately these are the things that we teaching our clients. Number one, we're teaching them about the theory of decreasing responsibility. It talks about how to buy wealth while you build wealth, how to we protect our clients in two different ways. We make sure that they're protected, their family is protected if they die too soon, and they're protected financially if they live too long, meaning they outlive their paycheck in their retirement years. And so we protect them from having having that happen in their retirement years. And so we teach them about the theory of decreasing responsibility. Number two, we teach them about the rule of 72. And so the rule of 72, that's the banker's rule, Miss Marcel. Every banker knows this rule. But let me ask you, have you ever heard of the rule of 72?
No, ma'am. That's what I was just gonna say. I don't know what that is.
You don't know what it is, but do you have a bank account? Do you have a checking or savings account at a bank?
I do.
You do. And so guess what? When you went to open that account, that if you don't know the rule of 72, that means that your banker did not educate you on what's actually happening with your money when you put it in that account. So let me ask you, do you know exactly what happened to your money when you put it in the bank?
Uh, Outside of me putting it in, no.
Okay, and so I'm gonna tell you, they actually loaned it out to people in the forms of loans and credit cards, as well as investing in the global economy. And so, how does that make you feel?
Man, a little mad and confused because I'm putting my money in there, but I don't know nothing else. Like, hello. Hello?
I hear you, Marcel.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that was me. I'm sorry.
I
I'm
was pretty
talking. I
fast.
didn't
I'm
even
gonna have to
realize I was on
dig
mute.
out. I don't know what's going on.
That was me. That was me. I'm talking and on mute. And so, did you know the account that you putting your money into at the bank is an investment vehicle?
No, I
Right.
thought it was
And
just something for
so
me to save.
it's just
So
something for you to put your money in and save it until you're ready to come get it, right? To
right.
get it at your pocket. But actually, what the banks are doing, and like I said, they're taking your money and they're investing it at a higher rate of return, and they're giving you a really low rate of return on your money, and they're keeping the rest. And so, and again, like, what's the average credit card? Have you ever gotten a credit card before?
I have two.
You have two. And so, what's usually like the interest rates on credit cards?
Oh my gosh. One of them is 20, like 25%.
25%.
Yes, ma'am.
And so that means that that means that when you buy something and you don't pay that money back immediately, then you end up owing more money to that credit card than what you originally borrowed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so that's because of the rule of 72. If what it does is, if you take 72 and you divide it by your bank's interest rate, that's how long it takes for your money to double one time in that account. And so, what bank did you say you were with?
Oh my gosh. I bank with Ascend Federal Credit Union.
And do you know how much the interest rate is at that bank?
It's for me, I think it's 0.1, 0.01, something like that.
Okay, I'm gonna look it up for you real quick.
Okay.
Ascend Federal Bank.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And so y'all gotta be okay with pausing to look up the interest rate.
Okay.
It's actually 0.5%. And so so with the rule of 72, if you take 72 and divide it by 0.5%, do you know how much that is?
Not off the top of my head, no ma'am.
Okay, so you remember the rule of 72 is if you take 72 and divide it by your bank's interest rate, that's how many years it's going to take for your money to double one time in that account. And so if however much money you got in that account right now, if you left it there to double, it would take 144 years for that money to double one time in that account.
Oh, that's too long.
That's too long, right? But that's how long it would take. And so guess what? With the rule of 72, what's happening is the banks usually give us 3% or lower, and they take our money and they invest it at 12% or higher. And so 3% or lower means your money is doubling at least every 24 years, and 12% or higher. When they take your money and they invest it at 12% or higher, guess what? That means that what's happening is it's taking 6 years for your money. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know how many more 24 years I got left for my money to be doubling. But I could
Right.
truly see my money taking a few more, like 6 years. I would rather take the 6 years than the 24 years. And so, what about you? If you would you want the 12% or higher or the 3% or lower?
I want the one that's gonna give me my money back without taking that longer time.
Right, right. And so that's what we teach our clients, how to get the higher rate of return. And so, would you want to get that today, or would you want to continue to wait and continue to put your
No,
money
I'm on it now. Today.
now? Awesome, awesome. And so, by the end of the presentation, remember, we're gonna be talking about your insurance, getting some outside of your job, as well as making sure that you can get making sure you can put your money in the right place where you can get a higher rate of return. And so,
Okay, that sounds good.
awesome, awesome. And so next we we teach our clients about the power of compound interest. We talk about the high cost of waiting. That's and of course, the more time you wait, the more money you're gonna have to save, or the shorter time span you're gonna have for your money to double. And then of course, paying yourself first. One thing I teach my household, one thing I teach my kids, right, is to pay God, pay themselves, and then pay their bills last. And so, I know every household don't teach that, but I say pay him, pay me, pay them, right? Because he the most important. Then of course me, to make sure that I have my own sanity, and whatever I got left over, then I create my bills after that. Right. And so, but we sometimes tend to get those paychecks. That's why we live paycheck to paycheck. And we pay all our bills first, and we end up going through a little taste of insanity, because sometimes we can't even seem to reach the bills, and we try to make paper, right? We're like, oh, I gotta make this $100 stretch. You can't make paper stretch, okay? And then we go to church on Sunday talking about, oh, God know my heart. No, we supposed to have been giving him 10%, at least 10%. He only asking for 10%, but we can't even give him 10 because we giving our bills 100. Or sometimes we get a bill of 110. And so what we start teaching our clients is this thing called debt stacking. All of these are this whole financial education is a free financial education. And so we're teaching them how to get out of debt fast. And then lastly, we teach them about the type of insurance and investments they need with buy term and invest the difference. And so, like I said, Ms. Marcel, we educate our clients about money, and we basically help them to put together a financial game plan to help them get to where they say they want to be financially. And so these are the companies that we have a partnership with, that actually, once we create that game plan, instead of sending our clients out to a whole bunch of other companies that we don't know anything about, we found the companies that are the best of the best in the financial services industry. And so out of all the companies that you see on this chart, do any of them look familiar to you?
Voya from my job, I recognize that, and I think something with my grandparents, AIG, but I know
Okay,
that.
okay. And so you would say those some pretty credible companies, right?
Yes, I recognize them anyway.
Okay, awesome. And so, but let me ask you this: have either one of those companies ever sat down with you and your household and taught y'all how to become proper, protected, debt free, and financially independent?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am, not at all. And so you know those to be some great companies, but they've never sat down with you and your family to teach you how to get out of your to improve upon your financial situation. Well, guess what? That's why they see so much value in Primerica agents, because we are the ones that advise and educate the clients, and then we just point them in the direction of these services. Like we're not the salespeople. These companies are the salespeople. We just point them in the direction of the companies that are the best of the best, and utilize these companies in the financial game plan that we create for our clients. And so I'm gonna go around the wheel quickly and name the services that we have. So we have life insurance, we got auto and homeowners insurance. We also have, which we deal with the top 20 auto and homeowners insurance companies like Esurance, Progressive, Safeco, different companies like that, where we run their information through the system. Um, we run their information through the system and see, if they can get a better rate on their auto and homeowners insurance. And so let me ask you, Miss Marcel, who do you have your auto and homeowners insurance with?
Progressive insurance right now.
Progressive insurance. Okay. And so if I can help you save some money on your auto insurance, would that be something that's of interest to you?
Lord, yes, because it's too
Okay. And
high.
so we'll look at that at the end as well. So y'all, so far I got 3 closes. All right. And so also we have Vivint, the smart home system. We have long-term care insurance. We have a legal protection program with Legal Shield, in which we talk to people about making sure they have some legal protection, that they have a will in place. And so let me ask you this, Miss Marcel, you have children, right?
Yes, ma'am.
How many kids do you have?
3.
3. Okay. And if something was to happen to you today, God forbid, exactly where would who would your children go and live with?
I couldn't even honestly tell you because family is something else.
Okay. And so that means, so basically, I was about to ask you, do you have it in writing? But you don't even know.
I
And
don't.
so don't you think that's something that's important? Because if something happens to you and you don't have anything in writing, you don't know exactly where your children are to go, what's going to end up happening is they will actually go to the state. And so who would you want to decide the future of your children, you or the state?
Me?
You, right? And so we're
Mhm.
gonna definitely talk about that at the end about how to make sure your children are properly protected, and your money is properly protected, just in case something happens to you. Because if you know, I was in the same predicament at one point in time, and if something happens to me, I need my money and my children to go in the same direction. I need to have control over it, so I won't be flipping around in my grave because the state decided to put my kids, you know, somewhere and my money somewhere I don't want them to be. And so we definitely got to make sure we have that will in place, and that comes complementary with the legal protection program. Also, identity theft, I had to get that program because somebody ended up buying a RAV4 in my name, okay? And so we had to get that off of there. But then on the right side of the wheel, we got all these investment companies that we deal with. We actually got more investment companies than any other services that we have. We got mutual funds, managed investments, annuities, 401k, 403b. We got 529 college fund plans. We got UGMA. I mean, I can go on and on, IRAs, Roth and tradition. I can go on and on and on about the services that we offer. And of course, when you say that every household has a lot of these services anyway,
Somewhat, some do.
right? And so, but if we could help them increase their coverage, increase their coverage, cut their costs, and increase their savings, how soon do you think they would get with us to make sure that we could help their family?
As soon as possible.
As soon as possible. And so that's the importance of you actually introducing introducing Shakia to those people that you know. And so let me ask you this: what have you heard was the best type of insurance to have?
Of course, growing up, all they were saying was just to have some insurance and one where you can get some money from. So I don't know anything much about it. It's probably why I don't have it.
Okay. And so, well, look, you're going to understand today, right? And so it's two types of insurance, okay? You got two options. You got cash value, which includes whole life, universal life, and variable life, and you have term. And so by the end of the day, you're going to have a better understanding. I'm going to let you decide what's the best type of insurance to have, okay? And so with cash value insurance, you got whole life, universal life, and variable life insurance, okay? And so we're going to end up using John and Mary as an example of the whole life insurance policy. And the reason why they're called cash value is because they have exactly that. They have a cash value savings option attached to it, okay? And so John and Mary, they have 100,000 in life insurance each. Okay, they also have two children, but there is no coverage on their children. And so let me ask you this, Miss Marcel: what rule says kids can't die?
There's not one.
There's no rule at all. And so for this couple right here not to have any coverage on their children, they're living in a really detrimental situation, because if something happens to their children, now they got to go beg family and friends to help them, bury their children. And for me, that's an embarrassing situation. And so, but with this particular plan, they had no coverage on their children. They were paying $225 a month. Now, of that $225, and I've seen some people like this type of coverage because they have an insurance and savings plan all in one plan. So it's kind of like killing two birds with one stone. This is the one stone right here, okay? And so of that $225 that they're paying, some of that money pays for the insurance and some of the money goes into savings. And so how much do you think is actually going into the savings? More than, less than, or more than, less than, more than 225, less than, or less than 225 a month?
Less.
Probably less, right? And the reason, not more than, less than. I'm thinking about the little ending part. And so how much do you think is more than half, or less than half, or half that's going into the savings?
Less, I would think.
Less. Okay, about less than half, right? And we say less than half because really, honestly, Ms. Marcel, there's no way of truly knowing. So make sure y'all scratch that other part, so I end up throwing the ending in there. And so but yeah, there's really no way of knowing, but we say less than half because of the amount that's actually that ends up being projected in that particular account. And so of the 225, let's just say that 225, let's just say $100 a month is going into their savings, and the other 125 is going to pay for the life insurance. And so I'm gonna use you as an example, Ms. Marcel, in your bank account. Let's say that you're putting $100 a month into your bank, okay? And so by the end of that first 12 months, you should have how much saved up? About 1,200, right?
1,200.
Okay. And so after 24 months, you should have about 2,400, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And so, okay, so if you save up for 2 years, 24 months, you got $2,400 saved up. So let's say that you go to that account 2 years later and you try to take some money out that account, but the bank teller turns around and tells you, well, ma'am, you have a zero balance. How does that make you feel?
Like I'm gonna blow something up. Where's my
You got
money?
right, you about to blow, you about to blow something up, right? And so the thing about it is, so basically that wouldn't sit right with you, right?
No, ma'am.
And you definitely wouldn't allow your bank to do that to you, let alone your life insurance company, right?
Mm-mm.
Right. But if you end up having a whole life, universal life, or variable life insurance policy, what's going to end up happening is your at least your first 2 to 10 years, for sure your first 2 years, but your first 2 to 10 years on that policy, the company keeps your savings. How does that make you feel?
Uh, man.
Mad, right? And so that's number one, the first time that they keep your money. Now, from there, let's say by the end of that, let's say your money starts accumulating that third year, right? And due to the fact that your money is growing at a really low rate of return, it really looks like they're putting a small amount of money into your account. So let's just say by the end of your third year, you only, even though you're still putting $100 a month in there, by the end of the third year, you only have $120 saved up. How does that make you feel?
Where's the rest of my money? Wait a
The
minute.
rest of your money. This is the second time they done took this type of account that's taking your money, okay? And so because your money grows they only give you a percentage of the money and it grows at a really low rate of return. And so a really low interest rate. And so okay, let's say that after so from age 35 to 65, so that's 30 years later, the John and Mary finally save up $76,880 in that account. Are you on Zoom? You on Zoom? You on the RBB? Okay. And so let's just say that after 30 years, they finally save up $76,880. And so let's say that John decides, because of course at 65, most people are doing what?
Most I know, they still working.
They still working. All right, but we just talked about people said 65 is what?
Supposed to retire.
Supposed to be retirement, right? And so okay. And so yeah, it's supposed to be retiring, right? And so, but again, let's just say that they are, and let's say they go ahead in their retirement years, okay. And
Okay.
so, but they're still on, because most retirees, are they wealthy or are they living on a fixed income?
A fixed income.
A fixed income. And so let's just say John and Mary are on a fixed income, okay. And so, but they end up having this extra $76,000 saved up, and John decides he wants to borrow 50,000 of it. Now, if you borrow 50,000 of anything, is it really your money if you have to borrow it?
No, why you borrowing your own?
Right, because if you borrow something, you got to do what?
Pay it back
You
with
got to pay
interest.
it back plus what? Right, plus interest, right? And so, but he ends up borrowing his money, because that's what turns a lot of people on about this type of account. They get to borrow down. That's what I heard you say
Yeah.
earlier. They get to borrow down from their account, right? And so, what
Mm-hmm.
ended up happening? He borrowed 50,000. Well, let's say that John passes away before he pays that 50,000 back. What do you think happens to the money that's owed to the
Oh,
company?
they gonna get that money
Right, they're
regardless
gonna
if you
get their
die.
money. Well, what's gonna happen is this 100,000 that Mary thinks, 100,000 that Mary thinks that she's about to get from John's life insurance when he passes away, he's actually gonna get less than that. They're gonna take that 50,000 that's owed. They're gonna get that 50,000 that's owed. They're gonna subtract it from that 100,000 plus interest. So really, Mary is gonna get less than $50,000 in his death benefit.
Mm.
How do you think that's gonna make her feel?
Like, what's the purpose of having it?
Right. But let me ask you this. If people knew that the money that they saved out of their pocket into a plan that they had to borrow from, and if they do borrow it, it can affect the account that they've been paying into for 30 plus years, do you think if they knew that, they would actually get that plan to begin with?
No.
Of course not. If they actually were educated on it, and that's the importance of our company, because we truly sit down and educate people on how these plans work. And so another thing is, let's say he borrowed the money, but he continues to live, but he still doesn't pay it back. And so what ends up happening is it starts to eat away at the rest of that $76,000. And so once that entire 76,000 is gone, whether it was eaten up in interest or because he decided to just take the whole 76,000 out, what do you think happens when all of that money is gone?
It's just gone.
It's just gone. Well, actually, what it's called is called a cash surrender. And so, what does surrender mean?
Give up. To give
Give
up.
up, right? And so, if you take your cash, you surrender your entire policy. It shuts down. And of course, life insurance is based off of age and health status. And of course, today you are the youngest and healthiest you're ever going to be, right? And so, if somebody is aged, if it was 225 when they were 35 years old, how much you think it's going to be if they have to start a brand new policy at age 65?
Oh my gosh. About 500 something higher.
We just heard, right. So we just heard the third and fourth time their money has been tampered with when it comes to this account. Right. And also, let me tell you one last thing. When they, let's say that John and Mary don't touch their savings at all. They like, you know what, we're not going to touch it because we don't want it to affect our insurance. But they paying double the amount of money for the savings and the insurance. But let's say they don't touch their savings. And when they die, guess what happens? The company actually gives their family the death benefit, but they keep this, the company keeps the savings. And so would you put your money into an account where you can't even have you or your family can't even touch the savings unless it messes with your actual death benefit? And if when you die, your family doesn't even keep the savings, that's the type of plan that you would want to put your money into?
No.
And so who do you think that's the fifth time they done took? So 5 times we didn't come up with where this particular type of plan has taken the client's money. And so who do you think is benefiting the most from this particular plan, the company or the client?
The company or
The
whoever
company.
gave it to them.
Right, the company, right? And so why do you think so many people are putting their money into an account where the company is going to benefit more than they do?
Just like me, I didn't know.
Lack of education, because I'm pretty sure you know that your family members and friends would not teach you to get something that would harm you. And so what if I told this client again, hey, John and Mary, if I can increase your coverage, if I can cut the cost on the coverage, and I can increase your savings and protect your kids, would you consider being my client? What do you think they're gonna say?
Yep.
They're gonna say yes. And so at this point, what I'm going to do is, have you ever heard of Susie Orman?
No, ma'am.
Okay. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna play a brief, like 2-minute video about on Susie Orman, from Susie Orman. She's like this financial guru, right? That's supposed to know a whole lot of stuff about, you know, when it comes to insurance and investments. And so you don't have to take my word for it. I want you to, you know, or at least allow me to play her video so you can see, so that I could pretty much solidify my word for you. Okay. And so I'm gonna play this video.
Okay.
Let's go to Jamie in New York. Is it New York City, Jamie?
New York State, actually Jamestown, New York.
Well, that's okay, Jamestown, Jamie. Don't tell me that your parents named you Jamie because you were born in Jamestown.
No, actually relocated, grew up in Buffalo. So.
All right, that's better than them naming you Buffalo, don't you think?
That's true, yes.
Buffalo from Jamestown. Okay, anyway. All right, Jamie, go for it.
Okay, I am a married stay-at-home dad.
Oh.
We have 3 small children, and I recently took out life insurance policies on both of us. Each of them are for $1 million. Mine is a 30-year term, and for my wife, I went with the whole life insurance, and I was wondering if that was the right thing to do.
No. No, it wasn't. Because here's the thing. It's how much, and this is great. I'm actually so excited, because now we can compare one to the other. How old are you, Jamie?
I am 39.
And how old is the wife?
35.
35, so approximately the same age. For a $1 million 30-year term life insurance policy, which will bring you to 69 by the time it's over, how much does it cost you per month?
Per month, it's costing me for mine probably a little over $100.
All right, now, for a $1 million whole life insurance policy, which would last your wife her entire life, how much is it costing you per month?
A little over $1,000.
A month.
Yes.
Everybody, did you just hear that? 10 times more than a term insurance policy. Now, don't you just think, my dear Jamie, that for $900 difference a month, that's like $10,000 or so a year, for all of those years, for the next 30 years, that if you had invested that money, if you did certain things, you probably would have close to $1 million? Of course you would. Got that, boyfriend? So here's what I want you to do, especially because she's 4 years younger than you. It's not going to be $100 a month for her. It may be $75 a month for her. You go and you get $1 million life insurance policy for her for 30-year level term. Once it's in place, oh, you cancel that whole life insurance policy so quick you don't even know what hit you, and you save the difference. And later on in life, oh, you will be 10 times better off.
All right. And so what did Miss Orman say was the best type of insurance to have? You on mute, Marcel.
Duh, I'm talking. I heard her say term insurance.
Right, term insurance. And so that's what we offer with our company. We teach our clients about buy term and invest the difference, or buy term and invest. And so what we end up doing for the same $225 a month that they were already paying, what we did was we more than doubled their coverage, right? So we increased their coverage like we said we would do. And we also cut the cost, right? And also we did provide $10,000 in coverage on both of their kids. Once you insure one kid, all the rest of them are free. And so so out of that $225, we only charge them $80 for more than double the coverage and coverage on their kids. Did we help or hurt this client?
Oh, you helped them tremendously.
We helped them tremendously. And so, of course, with this previous plan, they liked it because they had a savings. And so, like I told you, if I could cut the cost for them, we're going to increase their savings. And that's exactly what we did. We end up taking that additional $145. Let me ask you this. I missed the question. With that $145 that's left over, what do you think most people do when they save money on a bill?
Oh, honey, blow it.
They blow it, or they go and create a new bill. But what we taught them was, let's take that $145 and let's create a savings like the one you wanted on your previous plan. But instead, it's going to start accumulating day one, not year two, right? It's more, you know exactly what's going into your savings, and it's a higher rate. It's a higher interest rate. Whereas on the previous plan, you would earn less than 1 to 3%, but when you had to pay it back, you're paying up to 6% back when you end up having to pay back that money. On here, this is not money that you have to borrow. This is your money inside of your mutual fund account, and you don't have to borrow, which also means you don't have to pay it back. And so after 30 years, instead of them only have $76,000 saved up, they had $265,000 saved up. And so after 30 years, Ms. Marcel, if their children are grown, because even if their kids were newborns 30 years later, they at least 30 years old. And so if their children are grown, they're debt free, because again, if they got $265,000 saved, that means they don't have any debt. So they're debt free, right? And at the age of 65, we say most people are retired at that time. And so they are retired. Let me ask you this: if they got their retirement plan on their job, and they got this, they have this extra money, and their kids are grown out on their debt free, do they really need that $250,000 in insurance?
No.
They really don't. Now they have the option to keep it, and we talked to them about that at that time. And one thing that I can tell you, that the difference between our term and other term policies, all the term policies in the world, is that our term is actually our term, oh Lord, my brain just went blank. With our term, what we tell people is that all term is not equal. And so with our term, they is pretty much guaranteed insurability once they end up turning once their term ends, they don't have to go through a medical exam. Also, it turns into a decreasing term policy, which we could talk about that once we get ready to do your plan. But they are guaranteed to be able to keep their plan and don't have to turn any kind of medical records in when it's time. So if they decide they want to keep it, then we actually put together a game plan to allow them to keep make sure they keep insurance and continue to pay the same amount of insurance. To pay the same amount of premium every month until age 95. Okay. And so, but again, the whole goal is to make sure that people have more money in their savings than they do in their life insurance. That way they won't need the actual life insurance because they can actually get buried off their savings. They can easily take 50,000 out of this 265, put thousand, put into a whole nother account. That's their burial, and the rest of it they can live off of or leave as an inheritance for their children's children, like the Bible says do. And so, if you had to choose a side for you and your family, which side would you choose? The left side or the right side?
The right.
The right side. And if you actually showed this same plan to 10 of your family members or 10 of your friends, how many of them do you think, if they had the left side, would switch from the left to the right?
Every last one.
Every last one of them. And so, of course, that's the importance of making sure you introduce your family and friends to Shakia. So just in case, because we may not know, but just in case they have the plan on the left, man, you could save their financial life by showing them how they can switch to the right. And so, ultimately, what we're going to end up doing with you today, Ms. Marcel, and what we do for all of our clients is we do this simple analysis called the dime, where we actually teach our clients about how much life insurance they actually need compared to what an insurance company actually just want to sell them or what they want to get. Okay. And because think about it like this, let's say that a company sold you a $50,000 plan after a $15,000 burial, Ms. Marcel. How long would 35,000 actually take care of your kids if you were to die today? God forbid.
Not long.
Not long at all. And so with this simple analysis, we protect our clients, of course, from their family from if they die too soon, and of course, from if they live too long. And so from here, we got the D and dime stands for death and debt protection. The I stands for income. The M stands for mortgage, and the E stands for education. And so with death and debt protection, 15,000 is the average cost of burial, right? And so how many people do you think they got 15,000 just laying under their mattress?
Nobody.
Nobody, right? And sometimes people do have a $15,000 burial that they bought or that they have on their job. And so, but we make sure that we include everything in one plan. And so, and of course, when we look at the debts, we look at what a person may have that they want to leave their family behind with, or that they might have joint debt with their spouse. And so let's say this particular family has 15,000 in credit card debt and car loan debt. Okay. And so of course the I in dime stands for income, right? Income protection. Because if something was to happen to you, how long would you want your income to continue to come in for your family?
Long enough for help them.
Right. You want to make sure it continues to come in, and for it to come in continuously long enough until they at least get into their adult years. And so, and we'll talk about that when we do your dime. But let's say this particular family has $2,000 a month that they say they want to continue to come in their household if something was to happen to them. Well, $2,000 a month times 12, well, that's $24,000 a year that they need to continue to come in to make sure that their family is taken care of. And let's say that they want to do it for at least 10 years. Well, that 24,000 times 10, that's $240,000 in income that they need to have to continuously come in so their family can continue to live after they're gone. And then of course the mortgage, right? Let's say they still have a mortgage that they haven't paid off yet, and of course it's 100,000. So if they want to continue to make sure that their family doesn't lose the house just because the significant other may have lost their spouse, right? Or because they've lost their parents, that don't mean that they have to lose their dwelling. And so they want to make sure that they actually protect and keep their house and their family. So it's 100,000 that we're going to include in there to make sure that their mortgage is paid if something was to happen to them. And then of course, allotment of $60,000 per child when it comes to their child's education, because so many parents say that their child's college education is so important to them, but don't tend to have money saved up for. And so with this family, they need about $430,000 in life insurance per adult to make sure that their family is protected, right? If something was to happen to them during their early and earning years. And so let me ask you this, Ms. Marcel, out of all the things we just covered in a dime, how many of these, which one of these things do you think this family could live without if something, one of the people were to, or if one or both of the parents were to pass away?
I don't think they could live without none of that, really.
Right. And so they need to have all of that protected. And so that's why they need that particular plan. And so we'll talk about that more when we get ready to do your plan. And so ultimately, Ms. Marcel, with our company, we deal with real people who have real challenges. And guess what? We provide real solutions. And so with this particular example, it's going to actually show you how we help our clients get from one side to our side. Okay. And so this particular client, 35, 34 years old with 2 children, they, before Primerica, they had an auto and homeowners insurance bundle program that was costing them $243 a month. Well, with our company, we took a 10-minute phone call, like what we're going to do with you today, and see if, and saw if we could save them money on the auto insurance. Guess what? We end up saving them $65 a month, right, for that same amount of coverage on their auto and homeowners insurance. And then, of course, with their life insurance, we helped them. They only had $100,000 in life insurance coverage, and we already know that means that they were underinsured because the mortgage alone, as you saw on the previous screen, was $100,000, which also means that Bob was passed away first, or Susan was passed away first. They would have left their spouse and their children with major debt. And also, again, no insurance on the kids, but it was costing them $250 a month. But what we did was we more than quadrupled their coverage, $436,000 on each adult. Now their income can be replaced. Now their home can be paid off, and the children's college education can be paid off, as well as any debt they left behind, plus $10,000 on their child. Guess what? We only charge them $100 a month. We save them $150 a month. Did we help or hurt this family? Help this family, right? And so we saved them $215 a month. And then, of course, then we looked at their retirement plan. They had an IRA and a CD earning 3%. And I'm gonna tell you right now, if you or anybody you know got a CD at a bank, right? If you got a CD, you need to come see me, because generally, usually most CD accounts earn on average of 1%. And you remember I taught you about the rule of 72. 72 divided by 1. That means the money is gonna double every 72 years. So here, that means it's gonna take 24 years for this family for their money to double one time in their retirement account. They already 34 and 35 years old. So with their 20,000 that they got right now, right, and they're still putting money in every month, guess what? By the age of 65, they only got $107,000 saved up for retirement. Would that be do you think that's enough for 2 people to retire off of for the rest of their life?
No.
Of course not. So they've left this family financially frustrated. But what we did was we moved that money and in an IRA, to a mutual fund, right? From the IRA at the bank to our mutual fund, increase the monthly contribution to $315. How we do that? We took the $100 they was already saving and added to the $215 that we saved them from. Can y'all hear me?
I can now.
Okay. So I thought it was you, Marcia. It was me. Okay. And so how would you feel if you had $1.1 million saved up by your retirement years?
That's good. Real good.
Right. And financially free. And so ultimately, Ms. Marcel, this is what we do for our clients. And if you decide to come work with us on a part-time basis, or if you know, or if you try, or if you refer anybody else on a part-time basis, this is how they would get paid. Especially, this is how Miss Shakia gets paid. She's a district leader with our firm, okay? And with our firm. And so when she helps a client with each one of these services, she gets paid every single time. And so for helping one client, she gets paid $84 for their auto and homeowners insurance, $562 with the life insurance. For that one client, $350 with their retirement. So ultimately, $996 for helping that one client. And so if you can help if every time you help the client, Miss Marcel, you got paid $996, how many clients would you help a month?
Well, in a month, oh Lord. How many days in a month?
30, 28 to 31 days.
31.
Right. But guess what? Even though making money when you work sounds great, man, Miss Shakia is excited about being able to become a regional vice president and own her own firm and run her own agency of agents, right? Where she gets to make money when she works, but also make money when she don't work with the profit sharing program. And so every time, if let's say that okay, let's say that Miss Shakia is the regional vice president and I'm one of her agents. And I went out and I helped this same client. Every time I help a client, guess what? The company is going to send Shakia some money as a bonus because she hired me and trained me and helped me to get to where I am right now. And so when I make the 996, guess what? She makes a 498. And so how many agents do you think Miss Shakia will want on her team if she made 498 every time one of them helped the client?
A whole lot.
A whole lot, right? Which ultimately helps her get to the point where she can be debt free and actually build a legacy for her own family with our company. And so basically, Ms. Marcel, out of everything that we talked about today, what two things stood out to you the most?
Oh my goodness, you spoke everything into my little household. I know I want to be debt free. And of course, you actually you told me the rule of 72. I didn't know nothing about that. It made me want to go get my money now.
Go get it. I'll be right here waiting. And so what we're gonna end up doing is we're gonna go ahead and get move forward with your very own financial game plan and your financial needs analysis. We're gonna look up what your financial independence number is, because let me ask you this: when would you like to retire?
I was hoping by 50.
Hoping by 50. Okay, so we're gonna look. And so, do you currently have a game plan in place that allows you to do that? Allows you to make that happen in your life?
I do not.
Okay. And so what we're going to do is we're going to create that game plan. We're going to help you to figure out your FIN number, financial independence number, which tells you how much money you need to have saved up to retire comfortably at that time for the rest of your life without having to go back to work. We're going to look at how much we're going to do your dime, which looks at how much insurance you need for you and your family. We're going to go ahead and get that game plan in place. And we're going to go ahead and make sure that we can move your money and get that retirement plan done. And let me ask you this. Do you have any money on any have you left any jobs where you end up leaving the money behind at that particular location?
I Let me see. I did. I think it was with Voya, but they sent me a letter or whatever. So I mean, when I gave it back, they only paid me what was left.
Okay, so you end up pulling the money out of that account.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And so that's absolutely fine. Well, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna get your financial game plan.
Hello? Shay, you on mute.
Her phone probably died.
I was gonna say it was low in a minute.
know what? I think Journey playing with that damn I'm sorry, with that dang on those earbuds. That's what's happening.
Oh,
They're Bluetooth. He got what? Because I've been saying she was playing with him yesterday. She had put him over here on my nightstand, and it kept kicking me out for stuff. Okay, and so Miss Marcel, how many people do you know that have children?
a lot.
A lot. And so what I want to do is I'm going to get the names of all those people who have children to help build up Shakia's referral list, because we got a free college fund that we're doing for children. And of course, how do you think those parents would feel that you referred them to someone who can help their child prepare for their future college education?
Oh, they'll feel good.
They'll feel great, right? And so we're gonna begin that list. So I'm gonna get all the names of people that she knows that got kids. And so let me ask you this, Marcel, how many people do you know that are teachers?
Off the top of my head, I know 5.
Okay, 5 teachers. All right, because that's exactly what we're looking for. We're definitely looking for people to come work with us that know how to teach people. Okay, because wouldn't you say that today I taught you something new that you didn't know?
You did.
Okay, and so I'm definitely looking for some people who will want to come work with our company on a part-time basis, teaching people how to teach people. Okay, and so okay, how many married couples do you know?
Well, that's a handful.
A handful. What's a handful off the top of your head?
10 off top.
10 off the top of your head. Okay, and so and how many people do you know already have their own business?
3 fully that I know, like, are fully operating and got a business license, I should say.
Okay, and so 3 business owners. Okay, and we also consider, self-employed, side
Mhm.
people with side hustles, and so
My bad.
and
Let me say
so
those 3 have legit side hustles. They have a business license.
yeah. Okay, y'all want the other people. Well, let me take that back. Look, if the people without the legit side hustles, if they ain't got no record, they ain't got no background, bring
Right.
them. That means they know. Look, shoot, if they ain't got no background, send me them too. I can get them right. Get them some legit money. Okay, and so do you attend church?
I do.
Okay, and so outside of your own pastor, how many other pastors do you know?
Wow. I'm gonna say 20 at least.
20 pastors plus, is that including yours or
No, that's
outside of yours?
excluding my
Oh,
pastor.
okay, so 21 pastors, right? Of course, because of course, what's the purpose of a pastor?
He teaches as well. Well,
He
they
teaches as
teach.
well,
I know females and males, so they
right?
teach.
So they teach as well. They educate their congregation about saving their soul, right? But also,
Mm-hmm.
they want to save their pockets, and so
Mm-hmm.
we definitely want to talk to them as well. So I'm gonna need me another referral sheet. And so so Marcel, we're gonna go through, and I'm gonna so let's start off first with all the people that you know with children. So I'm gonna go down this list and get all the names of people that she know with children. Then I'm gonna go
Okay.
down the list, and if any of them are if any of them are different from those, I mean, if those teachers, if any of them are different outside of the ones she named with children, we might actually help her think of those people's names. So we're gonna name the teachers, and we're gonna
Right.
name the married couples that's left over outside the ones that she already named that got children or that are teachers. We're gonna name her 3 business owners and her 21 pastors. And then we're gonna get, and so this part actually right here is the one of the longest parts, because this could easily take a good 15 minutes to do, 10-15 minutes if they give a whole bunch of names. And so
Mhm.
and we're gonna, and right here we're gonna put the person's name, first and last name, Sharon Bond, and this is her friend, right? Or they usually
Mhm.
list family members first. This is her sister. We're gonna put the relationship right there, the phone number, and the job title, and we're gonna qualify them. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure you put the person's name on the sheet and the person that was in training.
Okay.
Okay. So that's how you do a referral sheet. All right. And then of course, like I said, you do the financial after that, you do the financial game plan. So I'm gonna do those referrals. Then I'm gonna do the financial game plan, um, and close and all that stuff. And so, all righty, everybody. Y'all have any questions for me? So basically, y'all, no matter what presentation we put in front of you, they pretty much all do the same thing. They all gonna tell the wheel. They all gonna, tell the purpose. They all gonna tell the background history about the company. What you need to learn those the background history about the company, which is literally you just read it off the screen. You just have some energy when you do it. You need to learn about this wheel, and you need to learn how to deliver this page, which is the mission and the financial challenges that people deal with today, and that those and so with the wheel, that's how we solve them, right? This page don't necessarily have to be there because you can actually talk about those things that we do, even without that page. So it's just the field trainers and I are really trying to piece together something that's really short and simple and sweet for y'all. And so, but as y'all can see out of the presentations we do, it pretty much be the same information. I mean, no matter what format it's in, it's the same information. We just trying to make sure that, we put something together that's going to help y'all to become independent faster. And so y'all have any questions for me?
Not off the top of my head yet.
All righty. Well, I thank y'all so very much. Y'all
How do I
have,
get that presentation so I can look like study it and stuff?
well, we still putting it together. That's why I said we trying out different presentations to see which one work best. So that's not necessarily saying that's gonna be the one.
Okay.
And then you need to actually see us do some presentations before you try to do one on your own. But
Yeah, I got a pretty good like visual memory. So
Okay.
like the ending part is like down packed in my head. It's just the beginning part.
Okay. So and then of course the beginning is form. But what we'll do is and Brianna, make sure you text me your email address. Jamel.
Okay.
And so all right, everybody.
Hey, sir.
Okay.
Hey.
Huh?
Hey, so I know you said y'all still gonna have to work on it, but just to learn the basics of the words over and over and over again. Is it a way that you can send out some of the ones you've been doing in the morning time? Just so we'll have, it's still gonna be the same as far as the basic stuff, right?
Uh-huh.
Just so we can get